Today is the Queen's birthday, and it is also the day that I will be talking to John Vincent, who is not only the co-founder, but he's the CEO of Leon. Leon restaurants, there's 75 of them across the UK, 3 in America, and it's going to be incredible to talk to him about how he has pivoted his business, but not only that, how he's actually managed to create 2 initiatives that are helping not only the community, but also the NHS, and it's going to be fantastic. I think this is going to be one of the best examples, the best conversations about the entrepreneurial spirit, and I've got a feeling it's going to be quite a special conversation.
Hello, my name's John Vincent. I am going to be joining Holly right now to talk about Leon, I guess, and some of the things that we've been doing since this rather interesting coronavirus. I'm going to be talking about what we've been doing during this period and why.
Well, I just wanted to start. We'd hoped to speak a little while ago, and I know that you are literally living in, as we all are, no brands, however big, and I'm saying this to the small business community that are listening, are protected by what is going on. And just tell us, because what you have done, you've basically pivoted Leon, and lots of us have read about it in the newspapers, but it'd be just an honor for you to tell us how you went through that, you know, from when you heard things and what was happening in your supply chain and everything, to then what made you go, right, that's it, I'm doing something about it. Would you mind telling us the story?
Well, that's very kind of you. Thanks for asking. One of the things I've observed across the last few weeks is that if your business is set up and the purpose is to make money, sometimes when you have an existential crisis like the one we've had, you end up trying to work out what it is that you should do, because your purpose is to make money, and therefore the clarity and the touchstone of what you have as a central organizing idea, if it's to make money, then you actually don't know what to do. But because our touchstone has always been to make it possible for everyone to eat and live well, it suddenly became clear to me that number one, we had to serve the people, and we'll come on to this later, right? But the people that we've given the 50% discount to from the NHS, suddenly when everybody closed for the day after the furlough decision by the Chancellor, we were the only people left on the high street, and suddenly the NHS teams were dependent on us. So it became really clear, number one, and this was totally supported by my biggest investor, Ferson. He said, this is the time when we have to do what is right for society. And for an investor to say that is pretty rare, right? And this is a proper commercial financial investor. And he said, we have to look after the people that are looking after the people. So we have to make sure that we do continue to feed those in the NHS. That was the first thing. The second thing is that suddenly we had lots of people at home who couldn't get access even to supermarkets. And that's changing a little bit, although I think it's going to get a little bit bad again. I'll explain why if we've got time. And so suddenly we thought, you know, we've got a collapsing industry in the restaurant industry, all the farmers and wholesalers and suppliers who traditionally served restaurants, they're going under, they're losing jobs. Even one of them rang me on the Monday after furloughing and said, John, we're closing everything. I said, I'm driving up there right now. We'll be distant, we'll be 2 meters apart. But I'm driving up there right now. We cannot allow this whole industry to fail. So Feed Britain became a very obvious way of creating an e-commerce platform that linked all of those suppliers who were otherwise failing with people in their houses that needed the food. And then thirdly, I knew that we had to do something to try and save Leon jobs, because none of us want to be leaning on the taxpayer to furlough our teams. Yes. It doesn't fit right if we don't have to do it. And so I wanted to try and keep Leon open and maybe we'll come on to this, accelerate all of the things which that I'd always wanted to do. So the bottom line is that we knew that we had to go back to the touchstone, which was to make it easier for everyone to eat and live well, act on instinct, and do what was really quite obvious at the time. So there was not a lot. I mean, I can tell you a funny story if you're around, but I had 63 people. I came in one night and I was knackered, and I'd just been up to Bicester to see one of our suppliers, and I came back, and my my daughter said, your Ottie's on the line, who works at Leon. And it was a message saying, oh, we're in the meeting. I was like, what is this meeting? And I went over to my Microsoft Teams thing and it said, there are 92 people on this call. And everyone was looking at me. And I went, oh, shit. I arranged an all head office, all managers call. Shit. So I basically had about 1 second to define what my strategy was. And that's what came out based on, I guess, instinct.
You know what the thing is, what's amazing is for small businesses to hear from you, and you're so wonderful and being so candid with us, is that this is it. It's that instinct that kicked in, and now you've created these two things, haven't you? Tell us about it, because you've got Feed NHS and you've also got Feed Britain. Tell me about the two campaigns and how people can follow them or find them.
So Feed NHS has been done with the actor Damian Lewis, who's very handsome, his wife Helen McCrory, and Matt Lucas, who's obviously very handsome. So this is raising money for the frontline teams who are working in the hospitals. And that there's a website called feednhs.com, and it's possible to donate still. It's also possible to... if you're a local restaurant, or you're someone working in the restaurant industry, or you're someone working in the food industry, to donate food, or indeed to actually start providing food. So nhs.com, there's a way of getting in touch with Feed NHS on that as well. I
just wanted to ask you, tell me, you switched everything around, didn't you, for Feed Britain? And you also, in terms of the Leon restaurants, is that right, that in 10 of your locations, you made them micro markets? Is that still continuing? And how was that whole journey to try and do that? Because I can imagine very difficult.
Yes, I think I could not believe the speed at which my team turned the restaurants into supermarkets. I mean, unbelievable. And on Feed Britain, we were told that it would take 3 months to set up. And you know this yourself, Holly, and you gave me some advice. I'd like to say thank you for the advice that you gave us. Oh. But, you know, we were told it would take 3 months to set something up on Shopify Plus for the Feed Britain site. And we did it in 2 weeks. I just think, you know, that was the Feed Britain site. In terms of the shops, it was exactly the same thing. I mean, we started selling, I don't know how they did it. I mean, my teams were selling, you know, rice, Fairy Liquid, loo roll, amazing things. I tell you what I've pursued. I've pursued the Squirrel-Beaver-Goose principle. I've written about it in a little book that I wrote called Winning Not Fighting. And I think a lot of people are creating war rooms right now. And I think that's the wrong mindset, because if we're thinking about fighting and we're thinking about war, it's not good for our own immune system. Our immune system needs to fight the bug, not us. We need to be relaxed as we do it. But what I think I've tried to do is to learn from nature and the metaphors of nature, not the metaphors of war. So Leon doesn't have any war room right now, for example. We have like a collaboration room. And it's very much based on the Squirrel-Beaver-Goose. I don't know whether any of the people watching this know the story. No, tell us. There was a woman in a factory in America, and she was sent to the worst performing factory in the whole of the network of this corporation. And she saw, oh my God, this is a terrible assignment. I'm probably going to fail. This is probably the end of my career. There was one department in the whole place that was working well. And it was the finishing department in this giant kind of manufacturing factory. Yeah. And she said, how do you do it? How come you're the only people or the only team that's functioning? And this person said, my grandfather was a Native American. I'm a Native American. And he taught me the Squirrel-Beaver-Goose. And she said, what is this? And he said, well, squirrels know their job is to get nuts. The beavers self-assemble to do it. And then the geese fly in V formation and they cheer each other as they go. So what I've done in this situation is I've tried to not micromanage. I've tried to create a clear owner for Feed Britain, for the supermarkets, for Feed NHS, for the turnaround of the future creation of the model. And to say, right, here are the nuts. Here's the nuts you need to go after. On that analogy, from the nuts to the squirrels to the the principle on that analogy is, I said to Yvonne, please turn the restaurants into shops. Please
Yeah.
self-assemble without any direct command and control. And thirdly, let's the idea is that the geese honk the leader. They honk each other. They find the little positive things that energize the leader, because the leader is taking the majority of the airflow. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So literally, the Squirrel-Beaver-Goose is explain what the objective is, encourage people, get out of the way so people can self-assemble to do it. And thirdly, constantly find the little things. We have a coach called Steve Head. Steve Head is a great business coach. And he trains everyone in Lyon on moments of truth and glimpses of brilliance. Every Lyon restaurant has a gob book, which is glimpses of brilliance. So every time something good happens, the team will write down in the gob book, glimpse of brilliance book, something good that happens, because it reinforces the good. It literally manages your brain waves so that you repeat the good. That's basically the idea. And a moment of truth is basically an opportunity to do something good, to create a glimpse of brilliance. So someone coming in without a wallet because they've lost their purse is a moment of truth. It's an opportunity to delight.
None of us have been through anything like this. A lot of people work on their own. They don't have a team. Things are shutting down left, right and centre for them. They're having to reinvent themselves. Really think about it. They've not got anyone to bounce their ideas off. Talk to me about how you keep that motivation and focus.
So the first thing to say is don't take my smiley, positive demeanour right now as me never getting frustrated or me never getting angry, right? Because I totally do. And there are moments where I'm like, oh, what the fuck? 15 years of 15 years of doing this shit. I am so tired, right? So the first thing to say is, don't ever fucking be surprised if you're knackered or pissed off or tired, or if you have a row with your husband or your boyfriend or your wife or whatever, because it totally happens, right? And so I think not being a perfectionist is the first rule right now, because none of us are superhuman. We're all flawed humans with our own insecurities and challenges. And so that's the first realistic thing to say. Yeah. But in businesses that are small and medium, we are the business and we know what to do, right? Yeah. So you've got to get yourself in the state of putting away the fear that I just described. And you need to get yourself in what we might call parasympathetic state, which is the state after we've just meditated or we've been for a walk or we've done whatever we do to relax ourselves. In that state, you suddenly know everything that needs to happen. And the reason that we don't do it is that we have this amazing ability as humans to conserve energy and to maintain the status quo. There is a huge amount of inertia in humans. And there's a great book that I referenced in my book, Winning Not Fighting, called The 5-Second Rule. And it basically says willpower is overrated. You can't really motivate yourself to do something. What you have to do is literally move your body. And this woman that wrote this book, I think it was Mel Robbins, I think. She said, you count from 5 to 1. And when you get to 1, move. And if you've got something difficult to do, just begin it. And you also say to yourself, oh, after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'll stop. Everyone now needs to be acting with instinct. They need to be doing the things that they've always known they should be doing. But we basically fill our lives with blame. We say, oh, the reason that I'm not doing in this, my business, is someone else's fault. But actually, what it is it's like, no, all of the fucking things that you can do, you've got in front of you. And Alfred Adler said, we either blame or we create sideshows, distractions. And the distractions are things like birthday parties, Christmas, Sunday lunch, the football. We fill our lives with sideshows because we don't want to admit to ourselves that we're procrastinating, right? But this is the perfect opportunity right now to actually get rid of those sideshows.
tell me about what's happening now to you, John, now, in terms of you as a leader, you as an entrepreneur. Because just from my own point of view, I have felt more connected to my roots, to my purpose, to my drive right now, because of all the bullshit and travel and pulls and everything has stopped. And I am just focusing in. And I think this is what I'm trying to tell small businesses right now. If you are not changing now, you're not doing a good enough job. You have to change through this. But I'm really helping people understand that you have to change through this time. You cannot be the same business as you were pre-corona as afterwards, because you've missed the opportunity of learning about what it is that you can do better. Tell me about you as a person and what you think as a leader, or what your entrepreneurial side has learned through all of this.
I think that what we're having an opportunity right now is to have a really great reminder, a great reset of what really matters to us. And secondly, as a leader, I think I've started to be, and this is meant to be a medical example, but to learn how to triage, which is to learn how the things which I can just delegate, and learn to do one or two big things every day. Because when you learn to do one or two big things every day, you pop the bubble of the idea. The energy that you create in your business is a reflection of your positive energy and your darker shadow, right? So basically what we need to learn to do is there's a quick story, which is someone came with a beautiful elephant, and the person said, "That's amazing. How do you learn how to carve such a beautiful elephant?" And the person said, "I don't understand." "No, it's very easy. I just start with a block and I take away the bit of the block that is not elephant."
Yes.
It's very easy, right? And what this means is that when the things that have Wing Chun, the Taoist and Zen Buddhist principles of Wing Chun say, we have a true self. That true self is not to be developed. It's a true self to be uncovered when you strip away the fear, right? So what we're doing right now in the principles of Wing Chun is that we are applying the dust. We're dusting off all the crap that's been getting in the way of our true self. And that same understanding and discovery of the true self is what we need in our business. So we have to come back to what are the complexities that we have created in our business that are holding us back and not allowing our business to discover its true self? What are the people who've been holding us back energetically that are not allowing our business to be our best self?
And I think that's the point here. We've got this opportunity. You've put it so brilliantly. God, you're brilliant. You know, we're spring cleaning our minds, spring cleaning the way that we run our businesses, maybe how we interact with our teams, spring cleaning our entrepreneurialism. As in, you know, so many of us get bogged down in the absolutely shit of the day, and actually never get to the proper stuff, the stuff that only you can drive, the energy that you need. John, I can't thank you enough for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. I love chatting on the phone. I've loved chatting now. Maybe after all of this, we'll get to meet each other in person.
That would be great, Holly. And thank you to everyone that's watched this. It's really, your time is precious. So thanks a lot for investing in everybody.
Well, they are hugely thanking you, because it's just been wonderful. I've learned so much, and I'm sure everyone has. So thank you, John, so much for your time.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I'm just going to do a summary there. How amazing was that? Okay, if your business is set up, if your purpose is to make money, then it's actually, you don't know what, you know, basically this time is going to be very hard for you. If your whole purpose is to make money, you've got to think back to the beginning. Act on instinct. Do not overthink things. Go back to your purpose and go back to the touchstone of your company and the DNA. We've got the most incredible opportunity now that we can turn things around quickly. Do not create war rooms right now. Learn from the metaphors of nature, not the metaphors of war. The Squirrel-Beaver-Goose system, absolutely amazing. Let's all look it up more. Do not micromanage. allow people to self-assembly without direct control. And like the geese in that V form, honk each other and keep that leader going, because they're going to be taking the brunt of the wind. Reinforce good and brilliance. Do not be a perfectionist right now. Put away the fear and replace fear with love. We all fill our lives with blame and we create sideshows. You've got everything you need right in front of you, but we are procrastinating. This is the perfect opportunity to get rid of all those sideshows. Do not procrastinate and really focus on your opportunity and your purpose. This time is for a spring clean for your business and yourself. We have a true self to uncover. This is something I'm going to absolutely take away. This is not a self that we have to develop and build. We have our true selves. We need to now uncover our true selves. And this is an opportunity for us to do that. And the more we uncover our true selves, the healthier it will be for our businesses. Gosh, I could go on. How brilliant. Thank you so much to NatWest, to 3, to Dell and Royal Mail for supporting these most valuable conversations that we are all learning so much more about ourselves and our businesses for what looks like it could be a longer time than we had expected. So for now, thank you, John, again, and thank you all so much for contributing and just being the wind beneath the IGTV wings. Lots of love.